Matt Duchene turned heads in Dallas last season. One of the most efficient years of his career helped him lead the Stars in scoring. But was it one last hurrah in his mid-30s, or can he repeat it with that same magic one more time?
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now. Matt Duchene has been one of the best values in the NHL over the last couple of seasons in the Lone Star State, but can he repeat what he did a season ago? It's going to be tough as he's about to be 35 years of age. He led the Stars in scoring, a point per game with 82 points. We're going to dive into that on today's show. Also, where do the Stars fall on the athletic pipeline rankings, and another edition of This Day in Stars History before we wrap up today's show. It's a jammed-packed edition of Locked On Stars. So let's get into it. Matt Duchene, yes, Dutchie, who, by the way, signed a 4-year, $4.5 million cap extension in the offseason. So the Stars have locked him down. I want to bring up some numbers. We're going to compare some different stages of Matt Duchene's career and some of the expectations moving forward, because he had such a successful season in 2024-25. And I think that the short answer to my question, can Matt Duchene do this again? It has to be no. He is 34 years of age. He's had some of his best seasons of his career now in his early 30s, but I think we're starting to see some signs that his production at some point is going to start to decline. And I say that because Matt Duchene had his most efficient shooting percentage of his career last season. 19.7% is his best shooting percentage out of his 16 seasons in the NHL. His second most was in Nashville in 21-22, 18.9%. He had 43 goals that season, which was a career high. He also had a career high in 86 points that season. So if you just look at points, his last year in Dallas was the second best of his career. 82 points in 82 games and 30 goals. That is a really, really strong season from Duchene. But you look at his 16 seasons in the NHL, he has 4 years where he's notched 30 or more goals. He has 27 a couple of times as well. And 2 of those seasons of 30 goals or more have actually been in his mid-30s. He was 31 in Nashville when he scored 43. And just this last season, he scored 30. But it's not just the shooting percentage that is not going to hold up. If you look at the chances or his shot on goal totals or his total shot attempts, those are starting to decline as well as he's gotten older, which isn't a huge surprise. And I do want to say it's very remarkable what he did last year, considering the line that we expected him to be on was in shambles for most of the season. He played with Schmidt and Seguin for that first 20 games. They were lighting the world on fire. Then Seguin got hurt. He was gone for 3/4 of the season. After game 20, he was gone. Schmidt missed a month and a half at one point, maybe just over a month. And Duchene still figured out how to be productive and be, frankly, the most consistent forward for Dallas last season when they really needed it because of injuries, slow starts, slumps from certain individuals. Duchene was steady, and he was a steady presence. He ended up playing most of the season with Schmidt and Granlund once Mikael Granlund was acquired from San Jose in early February. So he got a lot of time with them. Eventually, we all know Granlund moved up with Rope Hintz and Mikko Rantanen. But I thought this was interesting just to sort of compare different stages of Duchene's career and where we're going to have to expect him to be in the next couple of seasons, or where you can start to see the trend. So from age 26 to 29, this is 4 seasons, 255 games played, 194 goals, 107 assists. It's good for 301 points. So over a point per game. And that would be his prime, most of his prime, 26 to 29. Now, this is age 30 to 34. I believe this is 4 seasons. It may be 5 as well. But now he's starting to enter the twilight years, right? Although you could certainly argue around 32, 33, you can still be in your prime depending. And we saw last year is pretty darn good. But 343 games from age 30 to 34. 126 goals, 176 assists. He had 302 points. Still really, really good. Obviously, a massive amount more games from 30 to 34 than that 26 to 29 period. 302 points, still pretty good in a 343 games. And we've seen how productive he can be and how he's started to adapt himself as more of a facilitator. You look at the assist numbers, they've jumped up a lot, 176 assists in that 343 game span post 30 years of age. You look at his points per 60 this last season, it was 4th highest of his career at 2.52, and he was playing less than he has in a while. But you look at just this span over the last 5 years, he's averaged 25 goals, or 5 seasons, I should say, 25 goals and 60 points. And you have to factor in the COVID shortened season and all that weirdness. So he was robbed of some games in his prime as well a couple of years ago because of the pandemic. But you look at some of the shots on goal numbers. He had a total last season. He ended with 152 shots on goal in 82 games. And that was the 5th least of his career. And that's with a full 82. And his shot attempts are down as well. The last 5 years, there's been a steady decrease in those numbers as well, which sort of leads to my other point that I made earlier. The shooting percentage, I don't see that as something that can be sustainable. 19.7% with the amount of shots he had and he put on net was the best of his career. It was really, really good. That's just not going to be sustainable next season. I would predict. But he had the most assists in his career. I didn't realize that. Last season was the most assists he's had in his career, 52. That was a career high at age 34. That's really good stuff. Now, once again, we don't need Matt Duchene to be a guy that scores 80 points in the regular season. This goes back to the conversation I always had about Joe Pavelski. I love Joe Pavelski. He was excellent during the regular season, way better than expected at that stage of his career. But I needed him to score big-time playoff goals. We needed him to be a factor then. And boy, he was, which is a lot more you can say for Matt Duchene. And that's the really, really hard part when you look at Dutchie. But so some other points I wanted to make about Dutchie, just because he did have a big season. And another reason why I think it's going to be really hard for him to repeat it. He had 27 power play points. And it may not seem like a ton, but that led the Stars, ladies and gentlemen, 27 power play points. That was the second most of his career. The best was 29. You guessed it, in the season with Nashville, where he had 43 goals. 27 power play points. He's going to get some time there, of course, but with Mikko Rantanen now joining the fray, it's just one more body the Stars are going to have to feed, or going to try to feed, and he's going to get a lot of time on the man advantage. You would suspect with Glenn Golitzson, a new system, Duchene may not get as many opportunities there. He'll be on the second unit, that's for sure. He's going to get some looks, but I don't see him putting up almost another 25 power play points, let alone lead the Stars. I didn't realize that at the end of the season either, that he He led the Stars in power play points, but it was a remarkable season. But it's going to be really, really tough for him to replicate what we saw a season ago. And what is his line mates? Who is his line mates? That's how I should phrase it. Is it going to be Seguin? Is Ben going to get a crack at the top 6? The Stars have some questions there because they're not as deep on one side of the puck. Maybe Johnston gets thrown up in the top 6 with him if they move him to wing. So Duchene's not going to have, I think, a steady dose of wingers this season, at least in the early going where they figure some things out, where he was surrounded with Marchment and Seguin. That was just a line that had chemistry. They're going to have to figure something else out now with Marchment off in Seattle. There's going to be a bit of a learning curve, and you have to add, it's going to be another year older. He's played a lot of games. The disappointing part, though, and Duchene is just looking at his career playoff stats, like 69 games, 37 points, and only 13 goals. Only 13 goals in 69 games, and he's a minus 17. That's just crazy for really how great he is and how good he is. Just the playoffs come around, and it's not great. And he's almost to 1,000 points in his career. Only need a couple more seasons probably to nick that box. But, man, Duchene had such a great season, but it looks like it's just sort of the beginning of the end for Duchene. Not saying he can't have another strong season. I'll say it, if he puts up 60 or more points next year, that's a really great thing for Dallas, and it's great for Duchene. But leading the Stars in scoring, that's going to be a lot to ask for. Now, pipeline, rankings, young players, young talented individuals in the Stars organization. Where do the Stars rank among the 32 teams? I'll tell you more in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Numbers can be a lot, including myself. Not really much of a math guy, although I throw some stats at you all the time here in the podcast. But when it comes to money, there's so many numbers, it's hard to think straight. Monarch Money will help you with that. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Maximize those investments. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNHL. Hey, Stars fans, we do have an important request here, and we would love for you to go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. We want to know your answers so we can help better enhance this experience on the Locked On Stars podcast and other podcasts on this network. And everybody that completes the survey, you get entered a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes, and we appreciate you for helping us out. Now, The Athletic always puts out these wonderful articles ranking teams in a number of different topics, but this one was the NHL pipeline rankings for 2025. Now, the Stars, of course, have not had a ton of draft picks over the recent years, so it's hard for them to jump in to some of the upper echelon of the NHL, the top 10, so that they find themselves in the bottom third, but they came in at number 23 this season. Their 2024 ranking was 18th. They were given a B- 2025 NHL draft grade. Now, they went ahead and gave little blurbs and explanations, analysis on certain players to anybody under the age of 23. So even Wyatt, Johnston, and Bishop are part of this grade, but I do want to read some of the experts on these certain players. And again, this grinds my gears. I think this happened last year. And Stars fans, you can tell me if I'm too biased or if I'm not thinking straight. but they have Wyatt Johnston as the number one player ranked. Okay, that's not where I have a gripe. It says bubble NHL All-Star in top of the lineup player. Not a gripe there. But then it ranks like the skills. Skating, puck skills, hockey sense, compete, shot. So hockey sense, compete, shot, all above NHL average. Puck skills, high end. This is where, again, I don't get it. Skating, below NHL average. And I'm not saying he's Connor McDavid out here, but below NHL average just does not seem like an accurate description. Straight line speed, I get it. He's not a Rope Hintz. Like, I think Rope, would he be considered elite? Probably above average at least. Like Johnston's at least average, right? I'm not asking for elite. He's average, skating wise, right? I watch him fly around. He's so shifty, and maybe that's different than just skating speed or skating. I don't know. That really, really upsets me when I see that. For whatever reason, it's not that big of a deal, but it talks about how great of a young center he is. He can break shifts open. It does say his only downside is his lack of separation gear, but he competes hard enough to compensate for that, which is sort of my point. He may not have separation like a guy, but does that mean he's below NHL average in skating? I don't know. I'll have to get a better explanation on that. I need more because I've watched him make guys look silly, and I don't think you can do that with being a below average skater. At least I just wouldn't classify him as that. But enough on that. Let's go to Liam Bichsel. He was ranked number 2. Has him as a middle of the lineup player. His skating, NHL average. Puck skills, NHL average. Hockey sense below NHL average. Compete high. And it says Bichsel split time between the AHL and NHL this season. He got regular ice time. Bichel's big, mean, mobile defenseman. Plays hard and projects to make a lot of NHL stops due to how well he skates for his size. He has some skill, but it's inconsistent, and he fights the puck at times. It says he looks like a career NHL defenseman with a bit of offense in his play as well. And I think that's pretty apt. We saw that over the course of the year. He had some moments where he struggled, but for the most part, there's just a lot to like in the package that is Liam Bichsel. Then you have the Stars' first pick of the 2025 draft, number 94, Cameron Schmidt, who we've sort of dubbed another Logan Stankoven. Talks about his skating ability. There's a great little piece on him here. So Schmidt has an excellent player at the junior level. He's a dynamic winger and a truly elite skater. Highly skilled, can beat opponents one-on-one at a high rate and does so at fast speed. Schmidt is an excellent goal scorer with a quick twitch wrist shot that often beats goalies from range. His main offensive traits are his skill and shot. He can make tough plays, but his decision-making with the puck can be questionable, and he often forces plays. He's very undersized. He plays with a bit of edge, which you like at the size, but his compete will need to be excellent to succeed in the NHL. And that's where he's going to have to make his money, right? And that's what we saw in Stankoven, who was an undersized winger. But, boy, he would work his arse off, and he was flying around, buzzing out there. Has Emil Hemming in there. Says he struggled in his first season in the OHL. It's his first year in North America. He's still going to have to get that transition and see where he projects. Even when he was picked by Dallas, I know it was a first-round pick, but he was sort of projected to be a bottom 6 player, and that's where he stands at this point in time. It does give some honorable mentions to Tristan Bertucci. Isn't spectacular by any means, it says, but he's a decent-sized defenseman who can move the puck and has solid mobility. Brandon Gorzinski is also on here as a center who was drafted in 2025 as possible stars or possible prospects that could eventually make their way to Dallas. But they come in at number 23 this season, the Dallas Stars on the NHL prospect pipeline. Cameron Schmidt, of course, we did a video on. Would really encourage you to go look at that video that we did earlier in the summer. I did a draft recap. There's some videos on there as well. There's some highlights of each of the players, which was a lot of fun to break down and watch some of these prospects. It's fun to watch guys just dominate the level that they're at. And Schmidt was a really, really fun watch. It's like 2 minutes of highlights, but you can certainly see where the Stars are going. But the Stars have a lot of good young pieces, right? And I mean, look at the first two players on this ranking with Johnston and Bischel. That's some good stuff that the Stars have going. And looking forward to another year of Bischel and what Wyatt Johnston's going to muster up too. It's going to be a real interesting season for him. Hasn't had just a real like down year, right? Although you could say the playoffs were a bit down, but still, we're talking about a kid that's been in the NHL for like 4 years. And the fact that we're talking about him with some, I guess, criticism about what he did in the postseason, I think is a good thing to some degree. I'll try to put it nicely, but it's better than the conversation we have about Duchene, where he doesn't really show up. We're almost surprised Johnston didn't have another great postseason run because we've just come to expect it. And I'd rather have that than someone that we just continue to wait for to just have a breakout sort of spell in the spring. So I'll say that. But let's do a little this day in Stars history. We've added this segment a bit over the last month or so. It's always fun. I'm cheating a bit, but we're going to talk about just professional hockey a bit in general in the state of Texas. And we'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is almost here. Yes, just next week, the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. FanDuel's making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. FanDuel is great. It makes it easy. You got player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live action so you can watch it as the game unfolds. You get a little inclination on something. You get a hunch. You can, boom, sprinkle a little cash there. It just adds the energy to your Sundays. You're going to be on the couch having a good time. Why not make some money while you're there? So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. This day in Stars history, and I'm cheating a bit, as I said in the tease. This is actually sort of this day in history yesterday on August 26th. I'm recording this on August 26th, but it's posting on a Wednesday. But the reason I chose this date in particular is because this is when the Minnesota North Stars joined the National Hockey League as an expansion team. August 26, 1967. And we have to at least thank the North Stars because they gave us a hockey team in the state of Texas. And of course, Dallas moved to Texas, or I should say the North Stars moved to Texas in 1993. But I did want to talk a bit about just professional hockey in Texas, because I ran across this article and it was really, really cool. So the Texas State Historical Association, and I learned some stuff in this as well. I know a little bit. I'm not going to say I'm a connoisseur by any stretch, but I have an idea of professional hockey in Dallas. But there is some really, really good stuff in here that maybe you did not know. This was by Martin Dunno, I hope I'm saying that right, and Lori Jasinski. It says here, Dallas Stars professional hockey team belonged to the Pacific Division of the Western Conference of the National Hockey League. This was written years ago, so this needs some updating. But it talks about how the franchise moved to Dallas, and then it gives you a little history. So professional hockey in Dallas dates back to 1941 when the Dallas Texans joined the Minor League American Hockey Association. And the Texans jerseys were actually what the Stars used sort of as an homage in their Winter Classic jerseys, where you saw the big D and it had the stars in between. So the Texans had a jersey like that. It was a big D and Texans across the middle. So the Stars Winter Classic jersey actually gave nod to the Texans, in case you did not know that. They debuted in the Fair Park Ice Arena on November 6th, 1941, when the Texans played against the St. Paul Saints in front of a crowd of more than 4,000 spectators. However, World War II caused the cancellation of the league play until the 1945-96 season, when the Texans resumed play as members of the United States Hockey League. Due to travel costs, however, the Texans, along with teams in Fort Worth and Houston, had to drop out of the USHL following the 48-49 season. The Chicago Blackhawks of the NHL operated a minor league team called the Dallas Blackhawks in the Central Hockey League from 67 to 82. I remember my dad telling me about this. I believe he went to some of those games, as well as the Dallas Freeze when the CHL returned to Dallas in 1992. But the team ceased operations after the 93-94 season as well. So some interesting nuggets and tidbits there, just about professional hockey in Dallas as well. It dates back to 1941. It's a great picture in here. And in the article, and it shows the Texans jerseys. The Stars did a good job on their Winter Classic. They did a great homage to the Texans. It's a great photo, but it goes into talk about how Norm Green eventually sold the team to Tom Hicks, and of course the Stars came to Dallas and boom, established themselves as a great team, winning the Stanley Cup in 1999. Talks about the Dallas Stars fight song with the metal group Pantera. I actually was doing an interview the other day on a local Corpus Christi radio station, and of course we got into the Stars a bit, and they asked me if they're still playing their goal song. I said, you better believe Pantera is blasting in the AAC every single night. And it talks about Tom Ghilardi in a little bit. Gets into some more stuff about the Stars and some of their history, but I did want to share some of just some professional hockey lineage in Dallas for those of you that may have not looked into it before, or maybe had no idea or new to hockey and curious about the sport in Dallas in particular. So some really, really cool stuff. And yesterday, the North Stars joined or back in 1967, joined the National Hockey League. And of course, eventually became the Dallas Stars. So not that we really talk about the North Stars all that much. Seems like the Stars, for the most part, seem to kind of not hide, but not shun. I would say they don't always lean into that, which I like to some degree as well. It's always been sort of a Minnesota thing, and although the colors are awesome, let's face it, probably the best jerseys ever. They're up there, like iconic jerseys, like with the Blackhawks and stuff. They're up there, but I like how they don't lean into it that much to some degree. They try to buy in to what's here, and I think as they should. They've done a great job, so it's paid off. So some good stuff there on another edition of This Day in Stars History. Thank you as always for the love and support. Appreciate you hopping on this episode and making us your first listen. Subscribe, drop a comment, leave a like on the video, and please hit the notification bell as well. Never miss an episode of Locked On Stars. Have a great rest of your day, Stars fans. We'll be back with another episode on Friday to kick you off into your weekend. It's going to be a big weekend. College football is back, by the way. Another big moment on Locked On. College football fans, Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation along two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former coach of TCU, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts. A college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. So get to it tomorrow, getting you set for week one. Going to be a fantastic week. Have a great day, Stars fans. We'll see you on the next episode. So long.